All right, so now we're going to do the rectangular prism, and then we'll do the cone. So I'm going to start with that 4B. So our light source is coming in and hitting that top. So this is going to be our core shadows on this side. And I'm kind of doing a poor job over here of shading right now because I'm rushing. This is one of those things where you really do need to slow down so that it doesn't look like scribble. And if it does look like scribble, you need to find a way to make it look like great scribble. For the most part, that doesn't work. But luckily I was doing it light enough to where I can really kind of come in and fix that layer up. And the blending happens mostly on that first layer. After that, then you don't want to do too much blending because that's when it gets it messy and funky. So the cast shadow kind of depends on how close or far away it is from your light source, how it falls. And usually you're going to want some sort of reference to see how much of a shadow you're getting. But if it's further away, it's going to be probably longer. Imagine noon. If you go outside at noon in the summertime and you're looking directly down at your shadow, it's right underneath you. But as the sun gets closer to the horizon, it casts much longer shadows and things. So since this box, our rectangular prism, is further away from our light source, I'm going to try and make this a little bit longer. Even though it's a short object, and I think I made it maybe a little too long. But you want it to be a little bit longer just because. And even then, I feel like I did it at kind of a weird angle. So now I'm cleaning that angle up. And that looks a little bit more natural. Alrighty. So let's do the 2H over here on our mid-tone side. Well, I got the 7H, and it's going a lot darker than I thought it would. So I'm going to ease up on my pressure. And again, I'm holding it from the back. And I'm trying to go across my paper evenly and slowly. So I'm not leaving white paper gaps. I'm going to go ahead and I smudged. Just that first layer will come back over. And I think that, honestly, it's like the tooth helps to even things out. I don't know. And Riley, are you following along, bud? All right, go get those pencils. It's in the back of your yellow workbook. And guys, I'm not so concerned that you're using the exact same pencil that I'm using or whatever. And if you need to, there's that reference in your workbook that tells you where the zero, like the zero is, the 0 point, which is HB. And as the B's get higher in number, they get darker. As the H's get higher in number, they get lighter. Out from the middle point, which is HB. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with my 6B on our core shadow plane and then just darken that up. And I'm going to do that with the cast shadow too. Leave like a tiny reflected light space in the cast shadow. And then go in with the ebony to just darken certain little parts. That probably like the edges, closer to the edges of the cast shadow. And then we're good with our rectangular prism. And I've left the reflected light maybe a little too hot here. That's what I was saying. Like you can overemphasize it just to make sure that it's seen. And this corner is hard to get into because of the booklet. All right, and now we're going to go for our cone. So if our light source is here, it's going to hit the cone probably here, meaning the core shadow is going to be there, and our cast shadow is going to be a little closer to the cone itself. So I'm just going to start with that 4B. Like when in doubt, you can always go darker. It's a little harder to lighten things up. So just start out lighter. And this one too, just like the cylinder, it's going to curve and soften. So your core shadow is going to be a little bit darker. And then it's going to fade out. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use that 7H. Where to go? If I can find, there it is. My pencils are all a hot mess. I'm just going to go up and down. Changed my... Since I can't move my book, since I'm like recording, I have to move my hand a lot and move my body. So standing is actually a much better scenario for me. And I'm going to go ahead and blend it. And then I'm going to come back with my 4B. And lay in or re-emphasize that core shadow. All right. And now I'm going to take my 6B and do the cast shadow. And I really wish we could leave a little light highlight and it would just be like that magic. But I want this to go more quickly. And so I gave you shapes that were already drawn. But I'm still going to kind of leave it in there, just even though it doesn't really work in the same way. And shade those edges. And tomorrow we'll do the sphere. And this weird oval shape, which will give us good practice for when we do the egg. All right, you want to go to the bathroom, mister? Okay. All right, so the real question is, where did those videos go? Because I found them yesterday.